world doesn't fear your kindness. It feeds on it. They don't respect your silence. They mistake it for weakness, and every time you choose peace over power, someone else takes what should have been yours. Now ask yourself, how long will you keep losing just to be loved?
Have you ever felt trapped by your own goodness? By the need to be liked, accepted, understood? Have you ever wondered why the world rewards weakness disguised as kindness and punishes strength cloaked in honesty? Perhaps you've spent years bending yourself to fit into boxes built by others' boxes labeled nice, polite, fair. But what if I told you that these boxes are cages? And the key to freedom lies not in breaking them, but in becoming something they cannot contain, something monstrous. Nietzsche saw this truth long before we did. He called it out with a clarity so sharp it still cuts through our illusions today. To become who you truly are, he said, you must first destroy who you were told to be. But let me warn you, this destruction is not gentle. It demands blood. Your blood. Because nothing worth having comes without sacrifice. We live in a world obsessed with morality, a herd mentality dressed up as virtue. We are taught from birth to suppress our instincts, to deny our desires, to shrink ourselves for the comfort of others. This is the lie of goodness. It tells us that compassion means submission, that empathy means surrender. But Nietzsche saw through this facade. He knew that behind every act of selflessness lurks a hidden motive, craving for approval, a fear of rejection, a desperate attempt to belong. What kind of life is this? To exist only to please others? To trade your soul for fleeting applause? Nietzsche warned us about this. He called it slave morality, a system designed by the weak to control the strong. It chains you to guilt, shame, and obligation. And the worst part? You don't even realize you're enslaved. You call it kindness. You call it love. But deep down, you know the truth. It's fear wearing a mask. Fear keeps you small. Fear makes you obedient. Fear turns you into prey, and prey always dies in the end. Society teaches you that to be good is to be tame, to smile when you're uncomfortable, to stay quiet when your soul screams, to forgive what wounds you. They told you to be kind, even when it meant betraying yourself. They taught you that anger is dangerous, that boundaries are rude, that wanting more makes you selfish. And so, you dulled your edge. You buried your fire. You silenced the wolf inside. But here's the secret Nietzsche whispered in the dark. He who cannot command himself must obey. And those who obey, who swallow their rage, who fear their power, are never free. But there is another path, a path less traveled, one that requires you to step into the abyss, to confront the darkness within yourself and embrace it. This is the birth of the monster. Not the mindless beast of horror stories, but the Übermensch, the overman, the one who rises above the herd, the one who creates their own values, their own rules, their own morality. To become this monster, you must first unlearn everything you've been taught. You must reject the chains of guilt that bind you. You must stop seeking validation from those who do not understand you. As Nietzsche wrote, he who fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster himself. And when you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. Yes, the abyss will change you. It will break you. But from those broken pieces, something stronger will emerge. You've been told the monster is wrong, ugly, unacceptable. But what if the monster is just your truth unfiltered? What if the monster is your full intensity? Your raw will? Your refusal to be shamed? Nietzsche believed that morality, as we know it, is often a disguise, a system of guilt designed to tame the spirit. But beneath that morality lies your original power, the will to power. The monster isn't the enemy. It's the version of you that doesn't need permission to exist. The version of you that walks away from approval. That doesn't need to be liked. That doesn't ask to be understood. It doesn't explain. It doesn't beg. It simply is. Freedom has never been polite. Freedom is not smiling when you're disrespected. Freedom is not forgiving the same betrayal 10 times. Freedom is not dimming your light to make others comfortable. Freedom is saying, "This is who I am." And if that makes me the villain in your story, so be it. Freedom is being willing to be misunderstood, to be hated, to be feared. Nietzsche understood that the cost of real freedom is your reputation. The world doesn't fear the polite. The world fears the unpredictable, the unapologetic, the one who is no longer ruled by fear. Freedom is not free. To claim it, you must pay a price. And the price is isolation, misunderstanding, loneliness. People will call you selfish. They will call you cruel. They will hate you because they cannot control you. But remember this, those who criticize you do so because they envy you. They envy the courage it takes to walk away from the herd. They envy the strength it takes to stand alone. Nietzsche once said, "All great things require sacrifice." So ask yourself, what are you willing to give up to be free? Are you willing to lose friends who demand your obedience? Are you willing to endure the pain of being misunderstood? Are you willing to carry the weight of your own choices, knowing that no one else will share the burden? The journey to freedom is not easy. It is lonely. It is terrifying. It is brutal. But it is also beautiful. Because at the end of it, you will find yourself not the self you were told to be, but the self you were meant to become. Kill the slave morality. There are 2 moralities Nietzsche describes. Slave morality built on guilt, humility, submission, and master morality built on strength, self-definition, and bold creation. Most people live by slave morality. They call their submission virtue, their self-erasure maturity, their fear peace. But the monster? The monster kills the slave morality inside. It no longer asks, "Am I allowed to feel this?" It simply feels. It no longer asks, "Will they still like me if I say this?" It simply speaks. You were not born to be another sheep. You were born to become dangerous. The journey inward begins with descent into the abyss, into the shadow, into the chaos that resides within each of us. Society teaches us to avoid this place, to bury it, deny it, run from it. But Nietzsche understood that true freedom lies on the other side of confrontation. You must face what you fear most about yourself. Your anger, your greed, your lust, your envy. These are not sins. They are raw materials waiting to be forged into something greater. Every monster was once a man. Every man carries the seed of a monster. The question is whether you will nurture that seed or let it rot inside you. Will you rise above the constraints of morality, or will you stay shackled to mediocrity? Remember, the abyss is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It will strip away all illusions until only truth remains. Everything around you is built to make you feel small. School trains you to obey. Religion teaches you guilt. Culture teaches you to fit in. But Nietzsche believed the goal is not to fit in, it's to rise above. Not to blend, but to transcend. Become who you are. But who are you without the mask? Who are you when you stop apologizing? When you stop asking permission to be whole? The answer terrifies most people. Because it means responsibility. Because it means standing alone. Because it means becoming something other. To walk the path of the monster is to walk alone. There is no crowd cheering you on, no guidebook lighting the way, only silence, only solitude. Isolation is not punishment, it is preparation. It is the crucible in which strength is forged. When you remove yourself from the noise of the herd, you begin to hear your own voice, clearer, louder, stronger. Do not fear loneliness, fear complacency, fear conformity, fear the comfort of the crowd. For in isolation lies clarity. In isolation lies power. The monster thrives in solitude because it knows that connection without authenticity is slavery. Connection without purpose is poison. Suffering is inevitable. Pain is unavoidable. But suffering can either destroy you or define you. Nietzsche believed that suffering is the ultimate test of character. Those who succumb to it remain weak. Those who overcome it become gods. Every wound you endure carves you into something stronger. Every betrayal you face reveals the fragility of trust. Every failure you experience teaches you resilience. That which does not kill us makes us stronger, Nietzsche said. Let the fire burn away all that is weak and false within you. Embrace suffering as your ally. Use it to fuel your ascent. Because the monster does not fear pain. The monster uses it. The monster transforms it. Here's the paradox Nietzsche forces us to confront. To be truly free, you must become dangerous. But not destructively. Not recklessly. You must become the kind of monster who chooses not to bite. Not the one who has no teeth. You don't explode, you command. You don't beg, you walk away. You don't chase, you build. Freedom isn't about violence. It's about having the strength to say, I won't shrink myself to be acceptable to those who never respected me. This is inner violence, the war to reclaim your will. This is what Nietzsche meant by creating your own values. Becoming a monster is not just about destruction, it is about creation. The Übermensch does not merely tear down old systems, they build new ones. They create their own meaning, their own purpose, their own morality. Where others see chaos, the monster sees opportunity. Where others see despair, the monster sees potential. Creation is the highest form of power. It is the act of bringing something into existence that did not exist before. Whether it is art, ideas, relationships, or realities you must create. Do not wait for permission. Do not seek approval. Create because you must. Because creation is the essence of life itself. So how do you live as the monster? How do you wield this newfound power without losing yourself? First, you must master silence. Silence is not emptiness. It is presence. It is authority. When you speak, let your words be deliberate, precise, undeniable. When you act, let your actions be calculated, intentional, unstoppable. Do not react to the chaos around you. Instead, create your own order. Second, you must embrace suffering. Pain is not your enemy, it is your teacher. Every wound you endure carves you into something stronger. Every betrayal you face reveals the fragility of trust. Every failure you experience teaches you resilience. As Nietzsche said, that which does not kill us makes us stronger. Let the fire burn away all that is weak and false within you. Finally, you must live authentically. Stop living for others. Stop living for tomorrow. Live for yourself. In this moment, right now, create your own meaning. Find your own purpose. Be the author of your story. And if the world rejects you for it, so be it. For the monster does not seek acceptance. The monster seeks liberation. They will call you cold. They will call you arrogant. They will call you too much. Let them. You do not owe the world your softness. You owe yourself your wholeness. Nietzsche said, you have your way. I have my way. As for the right way, the correct way, and the only way, it does not exist. You don't need to be understood. You need to be real. And realness costs. It costs comfort, approval, and illusion. But it pays in liberation. So ask yourself, are you ready to stop playing nice with your potential? Are you ready to stop apologizing for your hunger? Are you ready to stop being harmless and become powerful? Because here's the truth Nietzsche leaves us with. You must become a monster to be free, not the beast that harms others, but the one that refuses to be caged. This is not about cruelty. It's about clarity. It's about becoming the kind of presence that no longer asks, it decides. So if you're still waiting for someone to give you permission to be whole, stop. The monster inside you has waited long enough. Unleash it. If you're still here, you're not like the rest. You felt something in this. Not just words, but truth. So comment below. I choose to become the force that can no longer be controlled. Not just so I know you made it to the end, but so you know. so the world knows. Because when you write it, you make it real. And don't stop here. This is only the opening of the door. The next video is not content, it's continuation. A deeper descent into truth, power, and the parts of you that were never allowed to exist. Watch it not because I asked. Watch it because your future self is begging you not to turn back. And remember, the harmless are forgotten, the feared are remembered, and the truly free, they do not explain, they become. We rise now, in silence, in truth, in shadow.